Now, let's get into that as well as many other issues. The Umhlathuze Local Municipality is one of the fastest growing economic hubs in the KwaZulu-Natal Province. It's also the province's third largest municipality, boasting the mineral-rich town and cargo port of Richards Bay. Last year, the municipality received a clean audit from the Office of the Auditor General of South Africa. But despite this, the Auditor General also identified mechanical failures at the Mpangeni wastewater treatment works that caused water pollution. This morning on our Your Voice, Your Choice segment, we take a closer look and find out more about the Umhlathuze Local Municipality, and we're joined in studio by the Executive Mayor, Xolani and Ngwezi, where we will also be taking more of your comments throughout the interview and questions that you would perhaps like to address to the Mayor directly pertaining to the municipality. Mayor, thank you for coming in. We really appreciate this.
Thank you very much, my sister Leon, and to the viewers at home.
Wonderful. It's always lovely to have a face-to-face with somebody as opposed to having to chat to you online. So let's begin with the good news, because let's give credit where credit's due. The city has continued to sustain its sixth clean report from the Auditor General. And this is huge because not many municipalities and cities manage to actually achieve this. So perhaps you want to talk to us about how you managed to achieve this for the sixth straight consecutive time.
Thank you very much. We are very grateful that the city has been achieving clean audit for the past 11 consecutive years. And 4 in the IFP-led coalition, because we're a coalition government, by the way, led by the IFP, the DA, the ACDP, and the Freedom Front Plus. So whatever we achieve together. And we are, we are a disciplined municipality, as much as we are quite different in terms of the political outlook as political parties. But we believe that, we must have respect for law. Secondly, we boast as a city, employees, especially in the senior management level, well experienced and well qualified, because without those, it will be very difficult to achieve the clean audit, So we are very grateful, and we'll continue to do that. We hope even this financial year, when we are being audited, we'll still get a clean audit. We have established systems over years, and we will continue to respect all the laws and regulations set by Treasury.
Very important, very, very important. But however, we have got residents that, look at these clean audits and actually ask the question, okay, so that's great, but look how I'm living. And I am not necessarily having water, and I drive on roads that are full of potholes, and my life is not good. However, you get a clean audit. So how do we interpret the audit into the everyday life of a person living in the municipality?
In fact, the AG has actually urged the municipality to balance the clean audit with service delivery. And that is what we are doing. Just 3 days back, I was sitting with the Department of Infrastructure, trying to ensure that each and every cent goes to where it is needed, trying to guide how budget should look like. It must go to exactly where the problems are. We know what are the problems. Therefore, money must be spent on that, especially in the previous years. We had to spend more of our money on stabilizing the electrical grid. We have stabilized the electrical grid on the Xolani, in Cygnus, in Richards Bay, Polaris, and many other substations that assist the industry to have electricity, because we can't allow those to fall. And currently we are dealing with Mpangeni substation. We normally have a lot of power outages. That substation has reached its maximum lifespan. We are awaiting the commissioning of that. We're just refurbishing everything there. And we will be very soon going there for a sword turning and ensuring that we implement that project too. We're spending about 28 million rand in that. And also we have spent more money on addressing the issues of water. What has happened in the past is that the municipality has never actually addressed infrastructure in line with the population growth, because people have multiplied now. The infrastructure that was installed in the early 1970s can no longer cope now. The demand is bigger than the supply. And what we need to do is to actually add on the capacity of water, especially in the areas of Xolani. I saw in the video there, what has happened is exactly that infrastructure that we have, that Lake Kopu, we are supposed to be producing about the 36 megalitres of water a day, and the demand is 60 megalitres per day. So we have a shortfall of about 24 million litres a day. We are implementing a project which we call a 15 megaliter package plant, which we aim at adding the capacity of water by 15 million litres a day. And that's the project that I actually said that during the audit, the AG actually raised some issues, and we can't not listen to what the AG says. And that's why we normally get the clean audits.
And you can't not listen to what your residents are saying.
Exactly.
Because they've been saying they haven't had water for 3 months. So, the package that we played there. Let's talk about the areas that are most affected and the immediate solutions you're putting in place. Empangeni, Esikawini, you tell us which ones. I mean, Richards Bay, Ngwelezane, these are just some of the areas. Which are worst affected? What are you going to do to help the residents in this area now? Okay.
The most affected area in terms of water delivery is the southern areas. That is your Esikawini, under Inkosi Dube, under Inkosi Mkhwanazi. And those are predominantly the areas where I say the communities have increased highly of late, because those are areas that have TVET colleges and universities, So those who supply student accommodation, those are areas that have got more students. Therefore, they need a lot of water. But what we are doing is exactly where we are implementing the 15 megaliter package plant. But even at that time, we implement this project using our own coffers as the municipality. And remember, we get from the equitable share about 585 million rand. So out of a 6.2 billion rand, the rest is actually raised by the residents themselves and also the businesses around. But as I say, the demand is bigger than the supply, but we are trying all our best to ensure that we implement these projects. But one thing also that we are trying to do is to engage really Amakhosi, because Amakhosi have got a right to allocate land to people. So as they allocate land to people aggressively without planning with us as a municipality, then it makes it difficult for us to provide for services. Because as we speak, maybe today somebody is being allocated a plot of land. We have not budgeted for that new person that gets in. Therefore, we are just trying to rush something that will never finish. So that's why there must be a communication between Amakhosi, the municipality, the University of Zululand, and many other TVET colleges to say, in the next 5 years, this is what we will be taking in, or this is how we are going to be expanding communities. But unfortunately, we are not yet there. But we've already engaged them to say, the speed at which you are traveling with is not the speed that government can afford. Yeah. Can we try and actually deal with these things so that we are able to, to say anybody allocated land actually need a service. They need roads, they need electricity. And that's the same thing, by the way, that causes even Eskom to fail to provide electricity sustainable in the areas of Amakhosi. Because in the areas where Eskom actually installed infrastructure, there are now probably more than 5,000 more residents that have connected in the same transformer or in the same grid that has never been improved. So this thing is like, if you add the number of people in the infrastructure, improve the infrastructure so that it is able to provide services sustainable.
Can you give me an idea of the population growth? I mean, since, let's say, you were mayor, which has been since 2021, correct?
Yes.
Am I correct? So
yes.
Do you have the numbers to show how the population has actually escalated in these areas and how infrastructure is failing under this population growth?
If I can make just an example. Please. With the area of Esikawini. The area of Esikawini, for instance, alone has got residents which are more than 120,000. And in that area, the 120,000 people, probably the increment over the past 4 years when I've been in office is almost 20,000 by 20,000 people. And obviously, those numbers had not been budgeted for. And it's not because when you say we have not budgeted for them, it's not because we don't want to. But remember, budgets have got regulations on how they work. And also, as the number of people increases, the revenue is shrinking. Let me make an example. There's these things now of the renewable energy. People are connecting themselves because of electricity problems in the country. They are connecting themselves to solar now. So the anticipated, for instance, budget of 6.2 billion rand that we thought we'll collect just this financial year, as at the time of the adjustments budget last month, we realized that we will not be able to collect that money. And we have lost to date about probably more than 50 million rand on that. So all these things contribute, you know, some laws that are passed suffocates how planning happens in the municipality.
So it's a lack of planning, it's a lack of communication, it's overpopulation, it's a lack of keeping infrastructure updated.
It's aging infrastructure.
It's the same thing that we hear in every single municipality, unfortunately, that we've spoken to, and these are things that entail planning. I mean, when you talk 120,000, that's in the one area, that I imagine is just an estimate, because you cannot count every single head, and you must have illegals that are also living there and living on the land. I mean, is that a problem that you see and happening as well, where people are living there illegally?
Of course, that's the case, you know, and some of these contribute to illegal connection or to our infrastructure, especially that of water. We've seen that especially in the areas of Xolani, in the areas of KwaZulu-Natal, where those who trade on student accommodation facilities will just connect to our, you know, bulk infrastructure, and then without consulting us. So that's why I'm saying there need to be a consultation between the stakeholders. For instance, University of Zululand, Xolani, TVET College, Department of Higher Education, Amakosi, and also the residents themselves, because...
And this doesn't happen. So you guys don't talk to one another?
I've since requested, Leanne, that we need to have an urgent meeting to address these issues.
And has there been a response? Is there a meeting upcoming?
Of course, the response is positive, especially on the side of UniZulu and other stakeholders, because, you know, those who trade in student accommodation are paid for by NSFAS. It's money that we pay as taxpayers. So they can't claim that they are poor, they are indigent. They are making hundreds of thousands of money. So they must pay for water, they must pay for ESCOM. Without that, our communities will continue to suffer. Yeah. People who stays in the areas of Amakosi, like myself, as a councillor, I'm not poor. The municipality is paying me. So I must pay for water. And then those that are indigent will then be assisted, because even in the areas that are controlled by the municipality, we also provide services, because water and these are issues of covered by the Bill of Rights. Therefore, we cannot provide them with services. But of course, they will have to follow certain processes.
I want to move on to the Mpangani wastewater treatment works, because this is a big problem, and one that we need to address quite urgently. I mean, it's causing water pollution, which is very, very serious, because you know, wastewater is where municipal failures hit health, it hits the environment, and the residents that you're there to serve. You in fact are making them ill, and this is a big problem. What failed? What went wrong here? And update us in terms of what has been repaired and what remains a risk until today.
Actually, the issue of the aging infrastructure is problematic, because that plant there was erected in the early 70s. Mpangeni town itself is about 63 or 64 years old, that CPT. So a lot of the infrastructure is quite very old. That's why I also talk about the refurbishment of the Western substation. It covers the same place. And it is true that the AG did find issues and came very hard on us for Mpangeni wastewater treatment plant and also Xolani. For Mpangeni wastewater treatment plant, we are already looking at solutions. Just I think on Thursday or so, when we had a portfolio committee of infrastructure and water and sanitation, we actually dealt with some of the approvals of the interventions that need to be done urgently. The unfortunate part is we cannot shut down completely, so we'll repair stage by stage. So we've already started with the interventions to deal with this issue. And for Xolani, we have already started also dealing with the issues, and we will shut down the existing plant where we are using, because there's another one that we can use, fortunately, in Xolani. But in Mpangeni, we have to do them step by step, because there's nowhere where we can shut down and dispose somewhere.
So in terms of spillage incidents that you've recorded of late? What are we dealing with? How bad is the situation? And are you communicating this to the residents? Is there a weekly update, a daily update? Are there updates? Are you informing people of the situation there?
Of course, generally, Leanne, there is beginning to be a problem of sewer problems in the area. And part of these problems is the fact that in some areas, as I said, communities have expanded. They are tapping into this, but infrastructure was never improved. So from time to time when there are incidents, we really ensure that we go and fix that. But as long as our people are not disciplined to our infrastructure, we'll always have problems. And for as long as planning between different stakeholders in the city of Umhlathuze is not in line with that of the municipality, we'll always have problems. But all I can say is that we are aware. In fact, we were aware long before even the AG actually spoke about this. But I'm saying we are putting interventions to actually resolve these issues.
I want to know what portion of the budget that you have is committed to water and sanitation reliability. Give us an idea of how much you're actually spending, and is this actually just reactive repairs or is it replacement? Because there's a massive difference between this. Talk to us about your budgets and how you are actually spending it. Okay.
Just this financial year, our budget was for capital infrastructure was 457 million. And a portion of that, I know that a bigger portion of that goes to water and sanitation as opposed to roads infrastructure. You know, so I'm really saying that there is a lot that we are doing, going to maintenance, for instance, maintenance of our infrastructure. As I said, that our infrastructure is aging. You know, there is a pipe in Xolani. It's 2 kilometers long. You maintain, it's a steel pipe. It was erected in the 70s. You maintain it today if it has burst. In the next 2 months, that pipe again, it causes a problem for you. But this financial year, I've already engaged with the Department of Infrastructure to say, let us just remove this pipe completely. And they gave me an estimate, which I said they must go and ensure that they really try and ensure that the budget is up to date. But as they did the feasibility study about 3-4 years ago, it required about 40 million rand to actually remove it completely. And we'll be looking at that on Tuesday. I've got a meeting again because now we are in the process of the draft budget. By March, we should have approved the draft budget, then go to communities. In May, we approve it. And then come July, we then try and ensure that we are able to deal with that.
I'm going to ask the team to put up some of our responses to a question. We've been asking a question, obviously, with regard to the municipality and the areas and how they see this and how they feel. So here's the first one coming up. And basically, this one is saying, morning, Leanne. I will request the municipality to have a better plan regarding the coal trucks. Our town is getting bad to worse. Let's prioritize that. Coal inhaling can cause complications in people's health life. Those coal trucks are not good for the citizens. Okay, let's have a look at another one. We'll address that. Moa, sometimes I'm getting confused because you get a clean audit, whilst the communities are still without clean water. The tired roads and one of the provincial states owned is not doing well. Okay, and then another one, Spare. I was in Xolani in January. Things have gone from bad to worse. The roads are full of potholes. The water outages are still ongoing. Mind you, this has been going on for years. The city may be getting clean audits, but is failing the citizens on service delivery. All right. So, Mayor, this is the reality. I mean, people are feeling like they're being failed. They really are. We've spoken about the water, which we're hoping, I mean, you've given us why it's happening, but we still need concrete solutions as to how it's going to be fixed. And when you're talking overpopulation, there's no planning in there because this is something that needs to be planned for. Let's talk to your roads because this is something that I've been picking up from a lot of the viewers as well and people that live in that area. The roads are a shambles. They are terrible, and we can understand why with so much transport of coals that are happening at that time with coal. So what's happening? There's potholes, stormwater, resurfacing, road markings. It's the everyday experience of people that live there. What are you doing to fix this? What's happening on the roads and their poor state?
Okay. Again, Leanne, our road infrastructure, as I said, most of the infrastructure that is in the city of Umhlathuze has actually reached its maximum lifespan. Unfortunately, for roads only, if we were to refurbish or rather to redo all the roads, we need about 2 billion rand. All the roads in this. We have done the feasibility study. We know how much we need, and we have done business plans to Department of Transport.
And that's money you don't have.
That's
clearly.
the money we do not have.
And the department, are they going to assist you?
Of course, we've not get responses for assistance, but of course we need to keep trying. And within the coffers of the city, from time to time where there are issues being raised or being observed, we have a program for maintenance of our road, potholes and so on. And it's an ongoing problem. So I can say where we have not arrived, our residents can even actually contact me or my office. We'll actually go there and redress those. It's true that our infrastructure is being sometimes damaged by the trucks. Unfortunately, we cannot say we want no coal because we are a port, we are an industrial port city, the deepest port in Africa. So when the railway is not working, then we receive per day at least a minimum of 5,000 trucks a day.
I mean, just numbers to put people in perspective, that exports of this coal rose about 11% last year to 57.6 million tons. It's the highest in 4 years. So you have been transporting on that roads up and down, which is great for industry, but not good for residents.
Exactly. And that's why we're putting a lot of effort to address issues of air quality and all that under city development. There is budget that has been set previously, but also, you know, we are appealing with the state-owned enterprises to ensure that really they fix the railway. That city was never designed, or that port was never designed to receive commodities, or most of the commodities, via the road network. It was designed to receive them via the railway network. Unfortunately, the problems we all know as the country, what happened previously with the state-owned enterprises. And what also we're also doing, because these trucks do not only cause a health risk for residents because of the issues of coal alone, but also the traffic and the behavior by the trucks.
Because you've got trucks and they are lining up on those roads, and it's a major problem. So I'm hoping you can address this. I mean, do you perhaps have off-peak scheduling? Are these some of the plans that you've got in place, or also, you know, different staging areas, or what are the companies doing to assist you? Because at the end of the day, they need these roads. Are they assisting? And talk to us about the plan on that congestion, because there's major congestion there.
Yeah, what we did after observing that we have got this problem now because of the failure from the Transnet side, and I must commend Transnet. I think they've really done some improvements of late. There are changes. You remember the president of the country actually descended Transnet in Richards Bay to actually check what was happening because of the outcry. Also, the millions of rands we lost because we had to control trucks for 24/7. So that's not budgeted for from the side of overtime for our traffic officers. So we lost about 12 million rand out of our budget because we needed to ensure that while the economy is running, but also the lives of our residents who are road users is also safe. So what we did was then to go out on tender on our land on a lease for 35 years for a truck stop. That truck stop is going to accommodate, when it is finished, about 350 trucks. So in the future, there will be a very minimum activity, especially on the roads, John Ross Highway, and so on and so forth. So we're putting up some interventions. Unfortunately, and as I say, that the demand for services is bigger than the money that we have. And that is causing a lot of problems for us. And I can even observe that, you know, if we don't begin, for instance, to aggressively collect revenue, especially in the areas of Amakos, where we are able to collect it. This city, with the investments that are coming, just this financial year, last year, during the investment conference announced by the Premier last year, we were announced to be one of the municipalities that is going to receive about 20.1 billion rand worth of investments just this financial year. So it means in the next 5-6 years, we are going to have more than the number of people that we have. That will talk to traffic impact assessment, provision of services and so on. And the country itself, South Africa, has put the city of Umhlathuze and Richards Bay as one of the priorities in terms of investment. You know that big plant for electricity, gas to power plant is coming to Richards Bay. It's a 70 point something billion rand project. So this city is going to actually attract a lot of people. And I'm appealing to government, in other spheres of government, to begin to put up a lot of funding, especially to address issues of infrastructure in the area, because we must balance the population growth, the investment attraction with provision of services.
Absolutely, and job opportunities, and also a post-coal era.
Yes.
Because all you're hearing is clean energy, clean energy, clean energy, and you're based on coal. So do you have plans? This is a major employer. What are the plans in the pipeline if coal starts, the numbers start going down? You're cruising at the moment, but this is the reality, is that people are just talking clean energy. What happens next?
Well, I'm quite unsure of the future myself, because as I said, we cannot say in Richards Bay we no longer want coal. We no longer. The Transnet alone has got a staff complement of more than 6,000 people directly employed there. I'm not talking about those that are indirectly employed by there. But I know that there are plans, the Port Master Plan, which is for a period of about 50 years. I always say in 50 years' time, I'll still be there. I'll be 93 years. In some of them whom we approve these master plans, they will not be there.
They
so
won't
at
be
least,
implemented.
Yeah, so I'm saying that I know that there are plans that we have as the city already approved, but the unfortunate part of it is that they need a lot of funding.
Yeah,
and the city is really on an upward growing mode. And as we receive investments, because I think we are one of the trusted secondary cities in KwaZulu-Natal, we are the only one that is really trying its best, you know. And I heard that you said we are number 3. We are number 2 in terms of the economic size of the province, contributing with a bigger GDP in the country, and we'll be receiving more investment. So that's why I'm saying we'll begin to attract quite a lot of people. And we've already started, by the way. 2 days back, I heard that one member of parliament, whom I knew that he was a resident of Maritzburg for years, he has now bought a property that side, because we are on an upward growing mode. We are attracting quite a lot of people, and it is important that we plan accordingly, especially for our infrastructure to actually continue and be resilient to supply services to our people.
Indeed. And now you've got a member of parliament coming in, in and amongst the overpopulation. So maybe, just maybe, other residents will actually see some benefits of having more high-profile people staying there. But I have to leave it there. Mayor, thank you. We really appreciate your time, and we wish you the best of luck. But most importantly, that service delivery that people are asking for desperately in your areas. Well done for getting your clean audits, but let that translate into service delivery. Thank you very much. That, of course, the Executive Mayor of the city of Umhlathuze in the province of KwaZulu-Natal, Xolani Ngwezi, talking to us about some of those issues pertaining to the municipality's economic growth and providing service delivery for communities.